Hey, what is going on? It is 12 noon on Wednesday, which means it's time for this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Chrismo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every single Friday, as well as Wednesdays, because today's Wednesday, and Wednesdays we do Ask the Instructor. Fridays we do State of Real Estate, and it's at 12 noon Eastern Time on both days. Today we talk about more of the technical side of the real estate industry and understanding some of the more complicated bits and pieces that are essential to building successful real estate career. And what we're going to be talking about today is what are the next steps after you've obtained your real estate license. So after you take the course, you go study for the exam, you pass your exam, now you've got a real estate license. What is next? What is it that you're going to do with your real estate license? How much money are you going to make? How are you going to make this money? Where are your clients going to be? What do you even do? You have all these questions, but what do you do now in this present moment that, okay, I've got a real estate license, now what? What's next? If you're in that boat, this show is for you. What we're going to be talking about today are the next steps. So say you just passed your exam today, you just got your real estate license today. What's next? What do you do? What are the options? Are you jumping full-time into real estate? Do you have to, or do you want to try to do part-time? Or maybe you're just going to do super part-time, maybe just on a referral basis. There's a lot of opportunities your real estate license opens the door for. So we're going to be talking through a couple different options and going down the most common routes, such as being a real estate sales associate at a brokerage. That is what most people do with their real estate license if they want to actively use it to make money. So we'll be talking more about that process, but also, again, some of the other options that you kind of just use your license on the side, including using them for your own purchases, which is especially helpful and useful if you are an investor or you desire to be an investor. So we're going to be talking about all that and more today on today's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Chrismo, and the show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate.
You are watching Ask the Instructor. Absorb the knowledge. Become the expert.
Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Carissimo, and we're here every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern Time, from the Tampa School of Real Estate, broadcasting live from Tampa, Florida. Nice and sunny out, 88 degrees right now to be exact. Just in case any of you are tuning in from other parts of the country, maybe you do have a real estate license there and you're thinking about getting your real estate license here in Florida, or maybe you haven't done real estate and you want to relocate to Florida. And look, Florida, there's tons of jobs that are out there. But if you're here watching this show, you're probably not just wanting a job. There are job opportunities out there. So these are the keyword job opportunities you have with your real estate license. So developers and home builders. If you're looking for a job, a more salary type of position, developers and home builders, there are openings specifically for people with real estate licenses. And think outside just of regular residential retail as well. Think of, I once had a student in one of my classes who was working at World of Beer in their real estate department, and she was getting her real estate license because it opened up more opportunities that she could do within the company for new acquisitions of new properties. So there's a lot of opportunities out there if you're looking for some sort of job. And you know, in the landscape right now in Florida, everybody's hiring, it seems like, and there's not enough people, I guess, they could get to fill these positions. So going back to job opportunities that are out there, developers and builders, these are bountiful in terms of the jobs. Some of the more specific jobs are going to be maybe getting more deeper into being an analyst, assistant, some part of a larger deal. So whether you're just an assistant to a real estate agent, or you're maybe an assistant on some big commercial real estate team or something like that, there are those, again, salaried or hourly or however it is that they're paid job type of positions that are out there. And Most people aren't getting their real estate license, though, to get a job. Some people are. Some people are saying, oh, I want to get this position. I mean, again, just like that one student I had that was within the company already, and there was new opportunity. So she was specifically getting a real estate license for that. But in the grand scheme of things, that's not normally what we see. Now, again, people that already have a license, especially if you have some sort of sales background already, or maybe some further deeper real estate background, these might be positions that people would be attracted to you, and people might be interested in hiring you in these types of positions. But a lot of people are not getting into real estate because they want another job. Or at least that's not what they're thinking about. They might think of it as a job, especially if that's all they've known as a job. So if you've been your whole life never owning or never running a business, the idea of starting your own business can be definitely intimidating. Especially when you're out on your own trying to figure this out all by yourself. But that absolutely should not be the case. That's not how your real estate career should start in real estate. However, choosing the right broker is essential for having a good start to your real estate career. But let's get back again just to initial steps after you're licensed. So you get licensed, now what? What is next? Again, you have those builder, developer, assistant types of jobs, but let's say you want to work part-time in real estate. And working part-time in real estate, what type of opportunities are available? Well, let's talk about what would be really the most part-time. And the most part-time way for you to practice real estate is on a referral basis. So now, how do you work off of referrals? What does that mean, a referral? Well, what a referral is where you have a lead. You have somebody that wants to buy or sell real estate. And if you're practicing real estate yourself, you probably want to take this person and go show them houses. Or if they want to sell, you want to be the one that sells the house so you get paid the big commission check. But what if I told you you could take that lead that you have and refer it for somebody else to do all of the work, all of the actual labor that's involved with the actual real estate service? Somebody else does all the work, handles all the details, and you just get kicked back, say, 25% of the overall commission. That's what referral real estate is really all about. And look, if you're practicing real estate, this might be something that you do when you're referring people outside of your market area. Maybe somebody's moving out of Florida. Maybe somebody's moving out of Florida and they need a referral for an agent in, let's say, Texas. Let's say they're moving from Florida to Texas and they need somebody in Texas to help them find a home. You could refer an agent there in Texas and they kick you back 25, 30, 20, 15%, whatever you negotiate with them as a referral percentage. And that's 100% legal as long as you have an active real estate license. Now, if you're wanting to do referrals, you'll want to make sure you're registered with a referral brokerage, because again, you do have to have an active license in order to earn even just a referral fee. You can't do this without a real estate license, and even if you have the license, it has to be active for you to earn referral fees. But there are specific referral fee brokerages out there where essentially these are brokerages where the key thing is you don't have to join the MLS. You don't have to join the Association of Realtors in the MLS. Now, why do you join the MLS and the Association of Realtors? Well, if you're actually practicing real estate, there's tools and all kinds of things it is that are not necessarily required, but make your job a lot easier. But if you're not actively practicing real estate, that really just becomes a waste of money. So maybe you want to work off of referrals. This is the easiest way to practice real estate. It's a one single page form for a referral fee that you just sign off on, the other person signs off on, and you agree to this percentage of a referral fee. And then they do all the work, and some deals aren't going to go through. Not every deal goes through. If you're new to real estate, that's something you'll learn very quickly, is not every deal closes, but most of them will. Especially when you get to the point of a contract, especially if they're dealing with somebody who does know what they're doing. The chances are they should be able to keep that deal together to the closing. And if not, maybe they get another deal, maybe that person doesn't end up buying, you don't win them all. But just making this referral for the deals that actually go through, again, it's a percentage that you negotiate, and maybe depending on how involved it is that you are, is the percentage that is negotiated. So, and there's people out there that maybe they're like internet marketers or advertisers, and they're just really good at generating leads. And if you want to be paid a percentage of the commissions of the sales, all you need is a real estate license, and you could literally earn referral fees for every single lead. You don't do any of the real estate work, maybe you're just helping generate the leads. And again, what you negotiate as the referral fees between you and that other agent. And maybe again, you're not making a business out of it. You just have the real estate license, so you could use it for your own purposes. And again, maybe earn some referrals, because maybe you're a very well-connected person. If you're a well-connected person, you absolutely should have your real estate license because of the referral opportunity. I mean, if this is let's say they're buying a $333,000 home. A $333,000 home, one side of a typical commission is about 3%, which is going to be about $10,000. 25% of that $10,000 is $2,500. And that's if they're buying a $330,000 home. Let's double that to a $600,000 home. That now becomes a $5,000 referral fee. Maybe this is a $1 million home, a $10 million home. Maybe it's only a $100,000 home. The point is, it's money just for making a connection. So referrals are a great way to start in real estate if you're not going to actively have time to actually do real estate. So that's one way to practice real estate. Now, you could actually do real estate part-time. That's how most people start, myself included. When I started in real estate, I started part-time, but not just to the degree of referrals. So if you're going to do part-time in real estate, you really got to make this decision. Are you going to really go all in part-time, which is, treating it almost like you have two full-time jobs if you already have a full-time job and you're doing real estate part-time? Or do you really want to just kind of kick back and see if you can make some extra money? Because if that's the case, I would say to go the referral route. Why? Because the referral route is going to cost you less money. Because if you go down the route of actively practicing real estate, even though it's not necessarily a requirement to sell real estate and buy real estate in Florida for having the Association of Realtors is where you get the MLS. And the MLS, or the multiple listing service, the big deal about the multiple listing service, it's not just a database of properties. Yes, it is the most accurate database of properties that's going to be out there, because people get fined big money for inaccuracies in that database. So it is the most accurate database of property available out there. But more importantly, when you subscribe to the MLS, what you're subscribing to is the cooperative agreement with yourself and every other agent and broker that's out there that has a listing in this system where they've automatically agreed to compensate you in advance. So essentially, when you're working with a buyer, you go dial in the MLS, you search for the property, you find the property it is that they want to see, and you'll be able to scroll down on the page and see how much it is that you're getting paid. Now, the reason why you automatically are going to get paid that amount is because you being a member of the MLS, a member of this association of realtors, of this multiple listing service association, you joining that, you're automatically a party to all those agreements that are in there. So you could go in there and see, oh, I'm going to earn 3% if I sell this $333,000 home. That's going to be a $10,000 commission. Now, you might have some split with your broker, but ultimately, you're going to know exactly what the dollar amounts are when you look in the MLS. Now, can you practice real estate without the MLS? Yes, you can legally. Legally, you're allowed to buy and sell and do all the services of real estate without the MLS. However, without the MLS, it's like you're practicing real estate in the 1800s. Literally. Not just because of the technology aspect, but because in the 1800s, before modern day real estate wasn't as cooperative as it is today. People didn't have these pre-negotiated agreements. That's where the origins of the actual MLS come from. Way before computers, way before it was just about being a database of properties. It was just brokers agreeing to cooperate on commissions, on sales. And they'll split commissions with each other. So you joining the MLS, it makes you a party to all those agreements automatically. Whereas if you're not a member, you have to go secure all those agreements yourself. And in addition to that, there's contracts and forms and documents, and there's a legal support line, and there's all kinds of tools to where if you're actually going to practice real estate, these are tools that are pretty essential to your real estate business, including the electronic lock boxes. So I've got an app on my phone that I can unlock these electronic lock boxes with because I'm a member of the Association of Realtors. So if you're actually practicing real estate, that's where it's going to require a little bit more investment because it does cost money to join the Association of Realtors. Usually about $1,000 your first year and $800 to renew it every year. If you're actually practicing real estate, one commission will usually cover all of those costs. But if you're not practicing real estate, those costs are going to add up. So can you use your real estate license to make money without the MLS? Yes, and the best way to do that, the easiest way to do that is going to be through referrals. So again, if you don't want to invest in the MLS, if you don't want to do that, you really need that to actually practice real estate. So if you're not going to have those tools, I would say rather than trying to figure out how to practice real estate without the tools, could you build a house without a hammer? Of course. But could you build a house without any tools whatsoever, just with your bare hands? Probably. I mean, I've seen some videos on the internet of people in the jungle building houses out of like sticks with their bare hands, so you probably could. But could you, with the appropriate tools, build something a lot better, a lot stronger, a lot faster, a lot bigger? Of course. So the question is, though, are you going to be building houses? Are you going to be actually using your real estate license to actually practice real estate, or do you really busy and you kind of want to just make some money on the side? In that case, I would recommend going just the referral only route, where you're not actively practicing real estate, you're just basically kicking back and earning referrals. And again, with these brokerages, you don't have to join the Association of Realtors. There's no need for the MLS because you're not actively searching properties, because you're not actively practicing real estate. You're just handing your leads off to an actual agent who probably is a member of the Association of Realtors, who probably has all these tools, who actively practices real estate on their day-to-day basis. And then when they make the sale happen, they kick you back whatever percentage it is you've agreed to in your referral agreement. So that's plan A, or maybe that's plan B for some people, and maybe plan A is actually practicing real estate, whatever you want to call these. But that's your other way to do real estate part-time. And this you can do it full-time or part-time. So let's even just take off this part-time here. Because even if you're just doing real estate part-time, and it is possible to do it part-time, but it's really going to be most effective. You're going to really see the best results where even if you're doing it part-time, you treat it like you're doing it full-time, if you get what I'm saying there. So going basically all in on it, which, will that involve sacrifice? Yes. Will that involve maybe some sleepless nights every now and then? Maybe. Will that maybe stress you out from time to time? Yes. But if you're trying to break away maybe from something that you have not been enjoying, that something is, you're asking that question is this for the greater good? You might want to, invest in that temporary struggle to kind of, it's almost like a spring. You imagine the spring. I've got a spring right here, and that spring, if this is where it's at its resting position right here, and this is where you're at, you get comfortable, you get complacent, your life is good. It's hard to kind of push yourself to that next level when you've got no tension on the spring. And how do you put tension on the spring? Well, you got to push back on it, and you got to push it down and get it down to where it's almost ready to pop. That takes a lot of work. That's basically the idea of you working 2 jobs essentially to keep doing what you're currently doing, so you get your bills paid and you get your everything going to also get your real estate business off the ground. But if you get to this point here, that's where if you do this to where you've got everything lined up correctly, you've got all this tension built up, all this momentum that you could release and rocket your real estate career to whatever level it is that you want. And, go into it full time if you're looking to do that. Or have the option to be able to quit your job if you want to, but you can keep your job because you've got another source of income. And so whether you're doing real estate full time or part time, it's 100% up to you. You might have a full time business that you work part time hours in. That's 100% possible as well. That's usually not so possible with most jobs. Usually most employers frown upon if you're getting paid full-time hours and you're only working part-time hours. That's even if you're showing up, if you're not really, going all in, or it usually don't require you to go over the top in most places. But if you're not meeting those expectations, well, they move you along for somebody else. In your real estate business, what you put into it, you get out of it. So as much fuel as you pour on the fire, that fire is yours. That business that you create is yours. You're really building a future with this. It's your name, your brand, your image, even when you're a member of a brokerage. You know, the brokerage name, and this is something I get asked all the time by new agents and students who are getting their real estate license. They'll ask me, hey, you know, what do you think about, do I need to join like a big name? Do I need to be with a big name company so people will respect me? You know, if I'm not with blah, 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 will people trust me? And, you know, we live in a very marketing and branded type of world. But what people have realized is the marketing alone isn't really, no one really trusts marketing. Marketing usually gets attention, but people very rarely trust marketing alone. Maybe if it's really good marketing, they maybe trust it all. But really what they're looking for, especially with the biggest purchase or biggest sale of their life, is a person that they can trust. So regardless of what brokerage it is that you're with, if they don't like you, it doesn't matter what your name tag says. They're not going to like you. They're not going to do business with you. If they like you, it usually isn't going to matter what your name tag says either. And even if they do bring it up, if they maybe say something, well, I've never heard of your brokerage before, as long as you have a good, confident answer as to why you chose that brokerage for your business, you know, obviously there's some reason you picked that brokerage over all the other brokerages out there. If you can't speak to why that brokerage is beneficial, not necessarily for you, but for your clients, figure that out before you go on any appointment ever with a client. You know, what is the benefits of your company? What is it that your organization can do that others do not? And when you've got that perspective there to share with people, and it doesn't need to be some big elaborate thing. You don't need to tell them everything. But if they ask you, well, why should I choose your company? It's like, well, don't you like me? It's like, yeah, I do. Well, then that shouldn't matter. Well, if they ask the question, it probably does matter to a certain degree. So, and look, based on your conversation you've had with them and the relationship it is that you've built, you should understand what's important to them and understand how to, you know, apply what your brokerage has to offer to that situation. You know, think of how, if you've already passed your real estate exam, you know this. If you haven't done your real estate exam yet, the way the exam works is you take all this stuff you learn in the course and you have to apply the concepts to the questions. That's the same way you have to actually practice real estate in the real world. Yeah, the laws and rules and all that stuff you learn in pre-licensing, that's important because you're not supposed to break the rules. But more importantly, the actual real-world training, the stuff you learn in post-licensing, the actual knowledge that you have of how you could serve your clients. You want to take those ideas and apply what is most important to your clients. You know, if they're really big on direct communication, and you know, maybe they tell you, you know, I'm not really big on technology. You going on and on about all the technology your brokerage has will probably just confuse them. So figure out another way that your brokerage connects with this person. But let's get back to, again, the next steps here. So you get your real estate license. How do you get to this point? How do you get to the point of being in a home with somebody, meeting with them, explaining to them why they should choose you and your organization and why you are the best option for listing their home or helping them buy their next home? Or maybe both. Well, if you're going to get to that point of actually practicing real estate, here are what the next steps are. If you want to do the referral option, if you want to do the job option, again, that's where you're looking on job websites, you know, Indeed.com, I don't know, Monster.com, is that still a thing? ZipRecruiter, all those job posting websites. That's where you'll find the jobs, and you'll see where some of them say that they require a real estate license. But again, those are just jobs. Maybe a little bit higher paying than other jobs, but just jobs. If you're looking to build a business, you could do that full-time or part-time. And if you're looking to do this with minimal investment on your part in both money and time, that's going to be from a referral perspective. So that's where you would need to join a referral brokerage, because you can't earn any money with your license being inactive. So number one, if you're going to actually use your real estate license for anything, number one is it has to be activated. And depending on what you're going to do with your real estate license, so maybe you just want to do referrals. If you're just trying to do referral business, that's where you're going to want to activate with a referral brokerage that's not going to require you to join the Association of Realtors and the MLS. Because if you're just doing referrals, or you're not, if you don't get at least one deal in that year, then those MLS dues are not paying for themselves. So if you plan on being able to commit enough time to get at least one deal, that's when, doing part-time is probably where it is that is a good place to start. Maybe you want to just start as referrals, but whatever the case is, you have to activate somewhere with some broker. So let's say that you are going to do the route where you're going to actually practice real estate. You're going to sell at least one home, if not 3 or 4. And is that possible part-time? Absolutely. If you're working part-time in real estate, let's say you're putting in 20 to 25 hours a week towards your business. And now look, don't hold me to this. Don't come on here and comment on these videos. I worked 20 hours this week and I didn't get any business. Well, keep going. And maybe next week, maybe the following week. It's not guaranteed. What are you doing in those 20 hours? So that's what's neat about real estate. You're not punching a clock. You're not clocking in and clocking out, which if you're the type of person who's not a go-getter, who's just looking to, kind of skim by, you're not going to be able to make a lot of money in real estate. Because it will take that investment on your part to be able to take your business, to be able to push it to that next level. However, if you are frustrated with not being able to see return from your effort and what it is that you've been currently doing, if you feel like you could have made better choices in your past about maybe your current position or your trajectory of your future, and you're looking again for more financial freedom to build your own schedule for unlimited income potential, that all exists through building a business, and building a real estate business is a great business to build because it's so, I don't want to say turnkey because there is still a lot of things to figure out, but compared to, if you want something else that's really turnkey as far as starting a business, you could invest in some sort of franchise, maybe a restaurant. Maybe not the best idea because the restaurant market is really oversaturated right now. And on top of that, you're probably talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to open a restaurant franchise. Joining the Association of Realtors, yes, that's probably going to be your biggest expense, but maybe $1,000, maybe $1,200, prorates depending on the time of year, to join that Association of Realtors. But again, if you get to close at least one deal, that's going to usually cover all your licensing costs, all your MLS dues, all your realtor dues, and you'll probably still have some money left over. But you're probably not getting in real estate just to sell one house. Maybe you are, and if it's a big enough house, you could probably still make a lot of money. Because again, the commissions are based off of the price. We get paid a percentage of whatever the property sells for. We pre-negotiate that percentage up front, and then when the property sells, we get paid that certain percentage. But you have to be activated with a broker to do that legally. So again, whether you're doing referral fees or you're going to actually practice real estate, you have to activate with a broker. Now, choosing that broker, how do you choose a broker? How do you pick the right broker? Well, again, if you're looking at doing referral fees only, there's a handful of referral fee brokerages out there. You could Google, you could do some research that way. Maybe you know somebody in real estate, they might be able to make a recommendation to you. But let's say you want to actually practice real estate. I would say there's many, many more actual practicing real estate brokerages that are out there. And when you actually submit just your application with the state of Florida to get your real estate license, when you just submit this initial application, you're going to get all kinds of brokers in contact with you that are going to be calling you, emailing you, sending you letters in the mail, all trying to tell you about why they have a great program to help you build a successful real estate career. So we're going to talk more about choosing these real estate brokers and ultimately going through this process to figure out, what do I do next with my real estate license? But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stick with us. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching Ask the Instructor. Have you completed your post-licensing education yet? Look, I know you're probably thinking, hey, it's not my renewal deadline. I don't need to do post-licensing yet. But look, here's why you want to do post-licensing as soon as you've got your real estate license, as soon as you're able to take post-licensing. It's not just another course about arbitrary laws that you're never going to use again. It's about real-world, usable topics that'll help you grow your real estate business, to help you take it to the next level. Look, let me ask you this one question. If this course helps you close just one deal, if you get one extra deal from post-licensing, is it worth the investment? I'd say it is. We get paid pretty well, so one deal means a lot of money. Check out postflorida.com. That's postflorida.com for the full details about post-licensing. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of Ask the Instructor. My name is John Christman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. You know, one thing I was thinking about while we're on the break here is probably one of the biggest reasons why everyone, I think, really should have a real estate license is if you ever plan on buying or selling real estate. Now, there is a certain degree of, I'd rather just let a professional handle it. I don't care how much it costs. I'd rather it done correctly and not have to stress about it. But if you don't mind getting your hands dirty to save yourself a bunch of money, and especially if you're an investor and you're doing this on a regular basis, that extra 3% in commission could be a pretty significant return on investment. Or maybe if you're buying a house, that 3% is a pretty significant down payment. So that commission, that 3% commission of a tip, and it might not be 3%, it might be less, it might be more, it's always negotiated on a case-by-case basis, but let's say it's 3%, that's a pretty typical amount. That's a significant down payment, and that's a significant increase in your return on investment, especially if you're doing this on a regular basis. So just using the real estate license for your own purchases will help you build wealth through real estate. Real estate is a great tool for building wealth. As you can see, values rise. I have a theory. Now, history will prove this true, but so far, it has proven true. Real estate always goes up. Real estate always goes up. Now, does it go down occasionally? Yes, but then it goes back up. But then it goes down, but yes, then it goes back up. And if it ever goes down, it's always going to go back up, or at least that's what's done so far throughout our hundreds or thousands or however many years we have of documented history on real estate prices. They always go up. Now, again, in the end, history will prove itself otherwise, but here's the great thing about real estate. Whether real estate value goes up or down, there's ways to invest in real estate where you make money regardless of whether it goes up or down. It's usually through income-generating rental property, and then when the property values go up, if you're already making money off of income-generating rental property, you just make even more money on the appreciation. And so when that theory of real estate always goes up in value holds true, whether you're a property owner just for your home or you own in multiple investment properties, really for the people who own multiple investment properties, they benefit the most from this. And if you're interested at all about learning more about investing, there's a lot of people that want to invest in real estate. Who doesn't want to be a real estate investor? But why isn't everybody a real estate investor? Well, number one, they probably don't know how. And number two, if they do know how, they might not have the money. So if they do have the money, they might not know how to invest. They usually hire some sort of professional to help them invest. That could be you. And that maybe could be you earning some extra money on top of whatever it is that you're doing, learning more about real estate investments, so that way you could stockpile some money to get a down payment for your own real estate investment. Maybe you got to fix your credit. All right, let's make some extra money. Let's go get a couple $10,000 commission checks, maybe more. It depends on what the price is. It depends on what commission rate it is you negotiate. But let's go get a couple checks. Let's go pay off some debt. Let's go save up some money for a down payment. Let's go learn about real estate while we're earning this money. So that way we're going to be much more informed when we go to actually invest in real estate, and we'll actually have the money. So that solves the two problems why most people aren't real estate investors. They don't know how, and they don't have the money. Having a real estate license offers a solution to both of those problems. So if you're looking to become a real estate investor, getting a real estate license and actually practicing real estate, especially if you could work with investors, is a great way to become an investor yourself. You'll develop contacts and relationships and understanding that is virtually impossible unless you are actually investing yourself. So you got to activate with a broker, but again, how do you choose which broker? How do you know what is going to be a good broker for you? They're all going to be telling you they're the best in the world. That seems to be the case. You'll go submit your application to get your real estate license initially with the DBPR, the Department of Business and Professional Regulation with the state of Florida, and they make that list public record. So every broker that's interested in recruiting new agents to their firm will go and typically get that list and go contact these agents. And so you end up getting bombarded from every angle, from brokerages you've never even heard of before. So how do you make a decision? Do you just go with who you know? Do you just pick that big name that you recognize, that big brand that you know? Well, if there's one thing that we could probably all agree on with brands is brands cost money. Now sometimes brands are are worth the price. Some brands, it's very clearly a value add for that premium brand. Whereas other times, I'm sure you've experienced in your past, you maybe bought some sort of premium product, some sort of premium brand, and it turned out it wasn't so premium. It wasn't all it's made out to be. You know, think of the as seen on TV commercials where it looks great on TV, but then you actually get the thing in the mail and you're like, this looks nothing like. How did the person on TV do this? So there's that degree of skepticism we all have now of, is this the real deal? And you know, some of us are just more inclined to trust some of these bigger names just because we recognize the big name, and the big names know that. The big names are usually independent franchises. So these are usually franchised operations where a broker typically will buy into the franchise models, pay some sort of money to buy into this franchise, and they've got to kick back so much of the profits back to the main corporate office in exchange for the model, for the tools, the processes, training, or so whatever it is that they're providing. But the problem is, a lot of times with these nation brands is that, number one, there's individual franchisees, and then number two, and it's kind of the double-edged sword of that, because yes, the individual franchisees are there to help localize the brand, but then that goes back to the whole reason why they're investing in the brand is for the support. So maybe there's a disconnect between some of that. So it might not always be the best option. Now, sometimes those bigger names might be the best options. I know a lot of franchises that are ran out there by very well-run franchises, by very well-rounded brokers. But then at the same time, I know a lot of franchises that are not successful, and you might wonder, why are they not successful when there's this so-called perfect model? Well, this isn't like McDonald's. If you guys ever saw the Founder movie where they figured out how they could basically just take back the whole restaurant by owning the land underneath the restaurant if the franchisees ever broke the rules. Because real estate has so many laws and rules that are different all over the country, I mean, you really do find big major differences between most real estate franchises. So what that means at the end of the day is, when you're doing your due diligence to find the right brokerage, don't just simply accept that any one brand is great just because it's this brand and just assume that all those offices are the same all over the country, because they're not. And that's especially, I mean, I've talked to agents all the time that have transferred from other offices, and they might say that, oh yeah, this office was great, but then I went over to this one here and it just doesn't have the same vibe, doesn't have the same culture, doesn't have the same support, doesn't have the same tools, and so you see a lot of those differences. But then do you go with somebody you've never heard of before? How do you know it's a good fit if you've never heard of them before? Well, because it's not just based on whether or not you know who they are or you recognize them. Really, what's important, and I'm going to really put this as number one, as step number one, is to have a plan. That's your step number one once you're licensed. And look, the beauty of this is you could have your plan from day one, because if you don't have your license yet, that you could be building your plan right now. Now, if you're having troubles building your plan and understanding how you can practice real estate and make money, your post-licensing is something I highly recommend that you enroll in and complete. Because post-licensing, now, to earn credit for this, you do have to do this after you're licensed. So you do have to do this after your license to get credit for it. You could take it before your license, but you won't get any credit, and this does count for credit for your first renewal. The big benefit of your post-licensing course is it focuses more on real-world content, about actually practicing real estate, about running real estate as a business. And so if you're having trouble kind of figuring out your plan of what you want to do with your real estate license, I would highly recommend you take post-licensing, because it'll help you kind of get a clue and a better idea of what it is that you actually do to make money and how you go about, making money in real estate. I mean, the pre-licensing course to get your real estate license, you can maybe figure some things out, but the big focus of that course is the exam, passing the state exam so you can get the license, and the big focus of the exam typically is a lot of the laws and rules. So having a plan of what you want to do. Now, this goes right back to figuring out, do you just want to do referrals, or are you going to actually try to practice real estate? Having a plan will help you make an informed decision on that, because I'm sure you'd all want to say, oh yeah, I want to actually practice real estate, but now what is it going to take to get what it is that you want out of real estate? How many deals is it that you want to close? Is it 2, 3, 4? And how much time is that going to take you? Will that be feasible for you to do? Is that possible? I would say yes, but if you don't know what to do, if you don't have the roadmap laid out with the steps to your success, you probably won't get there. Whereas the more you revise and refine this plan, the more likely you're going to achieve it. Because you'll keep going back to it and following it, but then also touching it up and figuring out, okay, I've got to do this differently, or maybe I've got to talk to this many more people because it doesn't seem like it laid out enough in my plan. So you want to figure out a plan to figure out what you're going to do to get clients, what type of clients it is that you want to go after. And you might not have all of these answers, but you want to ask these questions, because then as you start to research brokers and finding the right brokerage that's right for you starting your real estate career, it'll become more obvious what you need from a real estate broker. And then you could go to that broker with your plan and say, hey, this is what I'm planning to do. Does that make sense? And the broker might say, no, that doesn't make sense. I don't think that's a good plan. That might not be the best fit for you. Now, if every broker tells you that, maybe you've got something weird, or maybe you're on to the next big thing. Who knows? But having that plan, if you don't have a plan, what's going to happen? You're going to end up being part of somebody else's plan. And who's that going to benefit most? Whoever's plan it is. So if you want to benefit yourself most, you've got to have your plan. And what you want to do is figure out who else's plan complements yours best. Every broker is going to be out there to make money as well. And they make money through you selling homes, or sometimes just through you being an agent at the brokerage, depending on how the brokerage is structured. But based on what you want to do with your real estate license, and based on your background and your expertise and where your areas of opportunity are going to change which brokerage is going to be the best fit for you. So having that plan, so you can, again, make an informed decision and get activated with a broker. Now, taking the post-licensing, I would recommend doing that as soon as possible. You might do that before you join a broker, but if you've already got a little bit of a plan figured out and you've already got a broker that you know is going to be right for you building a successful real estate career, you don't necessarily need to take the post-licensing before you activate with a broker, but I would still recommend taking it as soon as possible. Once you activate with that broker, get enrolled in the next post-licensing class that you can. Or again, if you're not ready to join a broker yet because you want to figure out more of what it is that you're doing, go take that post-licensing course before you go join a brokerage. But don't let all your work go to waste of getting a real estate license to not complete this post-licensing course. This is going to be a requirement by your first renewal deadline, and that's going to be at the most 2 years, sometimes as short as 18 months from the date it is that you've got your real estate license. So you really don't have too much time to complete that post-licensing course in the grand scheme of things, especially if you're trying to start a real estate business. So get that done as soon as possible, because not only will that get it out of the way, but again, it's going to teach you real-world information that's going to help you understand how to run a real estate business. Now, once you activate with the broker, your next step is going to be to join the realtors and the MLS. Most of the time, that's going to be a requirement within 30 days of you joining the brokerage that you have to join the Association of Realtors and the MLS. And again, this is what will allow you, and really you don't want to wait, because if you're actually going to practice real estate, these are the tools that you need to do real estate. Again, the MLS, that's the system that has all these pre-negotiated commissions for you, so you don't have to go out there negotiation commissions with every single seller. If it's already listed in the MLS, there's already a pre-negotiated commission there waiting for you. You just have to bring a buyer that wants to buy that property and goes under contract, closes, all that deal. And again, there's all the other tools like the electronic keys to open the electronic lock boxes. There's all kinds of trainings. There's a code of ethics and standards they hold everyone to. So there's all kinds of tools if, again, you're actually practicing real estate. If you're not going to be practicing real estate, if you don't plan on selling any houses this year, this probably is going to be a waste of money, if you want to look at it that way. Again, you could look at it as an investment. That's the way I looked at it when I got started, especially because it took me probably about 6 months to really start getting my real estate business going. So I'd paid all this money, I'd invested all this into this Association of Realtors, and I'm like, what am I doing? Am I going to even make anything happen? And eventually I got things figured out as part my own hard-headedness and then part not being in the right environment when I was starting out. But regardless, in hindsight, I could sit here and tell you that, okay, if you're going to actually make something out of this, if you for sure are going to make something out of this, then yes, join the Association of Realtors. If you're on the fence, if you're not sure, maybe hang back on this, because this is a lot of money if you're not going to be using these tools. Paying all this money to just call yourself a realtor, It's not necessary. Because legally, you can sell real estate without being a member of the Association of Realtors. It's just, again, a lot more difficult without having those tools. So if you're not sure if you're going to actually practice real estate, again, you could still earn money with your real estate license through real estate referrals. Just look into referral brokerages. You might have already been contacted by one if you have a real estate license that's inactive. There's quite a few real estate referral brokerages that are out there. You just Google them if you're looking for one. And again, these are usually low-fee operations where you don't have to join the Association of Realtors, you don't join the MLS, but you don't actually practice real estate. You're not actually helping people sell their home and listing properties in the MLS, and you're not helping people buy their homes where you need to search properties in the MLS. So that's going to be your next step there. And then there's going to be all kinds of orientations. All kinds of orientations. Orientations for the Association of Realtors, orientations for the MLS, orientations for your brokerage. Hopefully they've got some sort of orientation. If this is a brokerage that's got some sort of training or mentorship program for new agents, they usually have some orientation, some initial courses and trainings and whatnot that you'll do to get up to speed on what your brokerage has to offer, using the tools, so on and so forth. So you're doing all those orientations to get yourself up to speed. Now, if you have not done your post-licensing yet, what's going to happen if you start doing your brokerage trainings is things might go a little over your head, and it might not make sense right away. Because what the post-licensing course is designed for is somebody who just got their real estate license who doesn't know about real estate. If you take this 2 years later, after you have your real estate license, this course is going to seem very remedial, and that's frustrating because the way you go about learning this information the hard way through experience is a hard way, and it usually is very punishing lessons, especially if we're talking about $10,000 commission deals falling through. So taking this course in advance, when you do all the trainings at your brokerage, things are going to make more sense, and you'll be able to take them in at a higher level because you've already knocked out these more fundamental, theoretical, basic training here. So you're going to do all these orientations, learn about the systems, depending on what your brokerage has to offer. There are brokerages that are out there that are low fees, low cost, that don't cost you much money in one way or another, but usually these brokerages don't provide much. They usually don't provide you a CRM or a website or transaction management, or in theory, the idea, again, for the low-cost brokerage that just serves the purpose of being a brokerage, you've got to provide all these other pieces yourself. And then there's the brokerages that are out there that do have, at the other end of the spectrum, that are higher cost, higher fees, and the way they justify that is all the benefits it is that you're getting from them. And again, that's the idea of the two sides of that there. And so you're trying to figure out, again, which brokerage is going to be best for you. That's why you're going to have a plan in advance to make sure whatever brokerage it is that you're thinking about is going to be the right fit for you. And again, if you need to flesh out that plan a little bit more, that post-licensing is a great course to take. But once you do join a brokerage and activate with your broker and activate with the Association of Realtors and the MLS, there's all kinds of orientations to get you up to speed and get you going on everything it is that you need to know, just to be familiar with the systems and tools it is that you now have at your disposal. And this really should be the first thing anybody does for reaching out for leads, is working your sphere of influence. You know, one of the questions people will ask brokers a lot is, do you provide leads? And most brokers don't provide leads, or if they do, there's some sort of cost that's associated with those leads. And the problem with, leads and relying just on leads is these leads are cold. They don't know you. They don't trust you. They don't have a relationship with you. Now that can all be resolved, but when you're brand new to real estate, that's just another thing that we layer on top of this here. So what happens a lot of times if you just start going right into external leads, people that you don't know, people you don't have a relationship with, people aren't always nice. People aren't always friendly and warm and inviting, especially if it sounds like you don't know what you're doing. They won't be nice to you. They don't have time for you not knowing what you're doing. But what happens when you're reaching out to your sphere of influence? What is your sphere of influence? Your sphere of influence is the people that already know you, that already trust you, that you already have a relationship with. These might be friends. These might be family members. These might be co-workers. Maybe people you went to school with. Maybe people you meet at your kids' soccer games. Wherever it is that you meet people, here's a secret. they all need places to live. Now, they might have a place to live already. I'm assuming they do. Most people have a place to live. And if they already have a place to live, well, do they want to sell it? And how do they know if they want to sell it? Well, if it's worth a lot more than what they bought it for, they maybe want to sell it because maybe they want to take that money and reinvest it into a new property. Take that equity that they have and be able to double down and essentially get a larger property. Or maybe they don't own a home yet and they want to have that possibility to just be sitting there. You know, if your home appreciated $40,000 over the last year, that's like having a second job that you have to work 0 hours for. There's people that have full-time jobs that don't make $40,000 in a year. So the fact that you could make that just sitting in your house, that's crazy. And if you don't own property, you do not have this benefit. Because over a few years, and maybe it's not always that significant, some years it appreciates more than others, some years it will go down. Again, you look at history, there are cycles to the real estate market, but again, you hang on to it long enough, it always goes back up. At least that's what history has shown so far. So, again, getting back to your sphere of influence, now how do you introduce yourself? You could go out there and you could say, hey everyone, my name's John, I just got my real estate license, I just passed my exam, yay for me, call me today if you want to buy or sell your home. You know, a lot of people like to make that type of announcement, and that definitely gets people to know that you now have a real estate license, but think of the way that you're framing that. Think of the perspective that you're putting out there. I just got my real estate license, I just passed my exam, and you're never posting your score on your exam. And even if you pass your exam on the first try, I mean, that only sounds so... that really doesn't sound appealing at all to somebody that's wanting somebody to trust with their largest purchase or largest sale of their lifetime. So how do you reintroduce yourself to people in a way that, you know, sounds good? Well, you know, if you've got a real estate website, you know, I've done episodes before where I've said, you know, starting in real estate, a website should not be your priority, and it should not be your priority. But a lot of brokerages now will provide you with your own website. If your brokerage doesn't, there's other ways you could do this, but let's say your brokerage does provide you with a website, and not one that you have to kind of like sit there and spend hours building and setting up, but one that's, you know, turnkey, ready to go out of the box. You got a website with real estate on it. So what you could do is share that website and say, hey, check out my new real estate website. You let me know what you think. Now, as opposed to saying, hey, I'm brand new to real estate, you're just saying, hey, check out my new real estate website. Well, yeah, I'm new too, but I was just talking about the website here. So what you're doing now is you're reframing it in a way that you're not putting a billboard out there that says, hey, I'm new to real estate. You're putting a billboard that's out there that's saying, hey, check out my super helpful real estate website. Maybe it could help you, and if it helps you, maybe you'll want me to help you because my website helped you. That's the idea there. And then look, if you don't have some sort of website or anything like that, there's other ways it is you could do this. You know, maybe it's a business card. Hey, check out my new business card here. What'd you think? Oh, I didn't know you're in real estate. Oh yeah, I just got my real estate license. Or maybe you have something, again, that's why the website works so well, because if you've got, let's say, properties on the website, you just be talking about the properties as opposed to the focus mainly solely on you, or, again, turn the focus more on them if that conversation does come up. Oh, I didn't know you're in real estate. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's... Why did you need to like sell or buy or something? Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, for sure. But I mean, I'm sure you'll probably want to buy or sell someday, right? Oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah. How long have you guys been living here? And now you can see how you could turn this into a conversation where, you know, you're not necessarily lying to them that you're brand new to real estate, but you're reframing this in a way that shows that, hey, I'm not going to advertise that I'm brand new to real estate, but what I'm going to do is advertise how confident and knowledgeable I am about real estate, regardless of how long I've been in real estate. Because you might have been studying real estate long before you got your real estate license. You might have owned real estate. You might be even a real estate investor before you got your real estate license. I was a real estate investor before I got my real estate license. So there's a lot of ways it is, again, you could reframe yourself. And that's why, again, as a new agent, one of the most important things usually for a new agent needing from their brokerage is a good, strong training program. And typically what I'll also recommend is some sort of mentorship, apprentice, some sort of program where you've got something in addition to the training. You know, a lot of times when people talk about a broker, they expect this broker to be the one person that is their go-to, that's their savior, that helps them with everything. And unless this is a very small brokerage, that usually is not the case. So typically for brokerages that are designed for new agents, they have some sort of training program, but then on top of that, they have some sort of maybe a team leader or mentor or coach or teacher or apprentice program, something like that. And what those roles typically are is to help fill in the gaps between the training. The training is going to hopefully be great and teach you all kinds of information about how to build a successful real estate career. But typically one of the other big things it is that you need, in addition to just good training, is help with actually applying that training, knowing what to do with that information, and also kind of keeping you pointed in the right direction, maybe even holding you accountable to your plan of what it is that you're wanting to do with your real estate license, so that way they can help keep you on track for that. And then again, when it gets to the point of where you're actually working with clients, that's where you want to go after your sphere of influence. You start reintroducing yourself to people it is that you know. And look, out of all the people it is that you know, none of them might need your services right now. But that's okay. You want to maintain the relationships and also maybe see if they have any potential referrals, because your friend might have a friend. Your family member might have a friend. Your coworker might have a friend of a friend maybe. If you get your name out there enough to these people where they associate you with real estate, that'll eventually trickle some business back to you. It takes a while to build up that level of recognition, but the more it is that you consciously try to influence that, you know, maybe you've got some sort of CRM. You know, a lot of brokerages might offer you some sort of CRM, some sort of contact management tool that you can maybe send out emails through, little newsletters, search alerts for properties, market reports for people that own property. So that way you're constantly keeping them updated on real estate. So that way when they think of real estate, they think of you. And going through your sphere of influence, these are people that are going to be the most warm and inviting to you. And so when you got your training wheels on and you're still figuring out how to talk to people about real estate, these are the people that aren't going to spit in your face, figuratively. Hopefully not literally. But as you get more outside of the people that you know, you'll be more confident because you've already kind of warmed yourself up. You've had some real estate conversations. You know, one of the other things I would also say to put on this list early on, again, especially as you start getting outside of your sphere of influence, one of the best ways to do that is going to be at open houses. I would start with your sphere of influence leads, all the people it is that you know, all the contacts in your phone, everyone it is you've ever emailed. And this is where, again, your brokerage probably has trainings because there's so many angles, so many perspectives it is that you could go with something like this. So your brokerage or your mentor, your trainer, somebody probably has some sort of training or can help you out in basically reintroducing yourself to your sphere of influence. And then again, you start to have a couple conversations, getting your feet wet in real estate. And then when you're ready to get beyond people that you know, open houses are a great way to do that, because then you get basically what should be a constant flow of people walking in the door interested in real estate. They probably won't buy that house, statistically speaking, but they need to buy a house. And they might need you to help them buy that house. But here's the thing, they might not even know you could help them buy a house. So that's what your job is at the open house, to start building that relationship and see if you could transition that into a professional relationship where you become their real estate professional. And then once you've done a couple open houses, that's maybe where you could get in, again, into other sources of leads. But you don't want to make the mistake of going right away into advertising and marketing and paying money for leads, because what you'll quickly find out is that you need practice. That when you've got the training wheels on, these coldest leads are going to be the most difficult ones for you to actually win over and achieve a deal with. But now once you've, again, kicked the training wheels off because you've already had some conversations, you're much more confident, you can speak to real estate better, it's amazing how much better you'll do with these now more colder external leads. But if you don't have that little bit of confidence there, they'll almost eat you alive. So that's why you want to start off with your sphere of influence, and then once you've gotten through, people that you already know, people that, friends, family members, whoever, you might say, well, I just moved here. How do I find clients when I just moved here? I don't know anybody in the area yet. Well, there's all kinds of great ways to meet people, but before we even talk about that, where'd you move here from? And why did you move here? And who else is from where you're from that also wants to escape? Who else wants to come on down to Florida? So you already know people. Everybody knows somebody somewhere. And they also know somebody somewhere as well. And it just might be that one of these somebodies knows somebody's who needs to buy or sell real estate, and that could end up being a client for you from your sphere of influence. And this is something that you want to constantly nurture and grow, because every interaction, every person is that you deal with now becomes part of your sphere of influence. You want to keep them in your sphere, keep them in your orbit. Think of it that like you're the sun, and these are all your clients are all the things you have in orbit around you. The more things you keep in orbit around you, the more business it is that you'll have. And then when you're ready to start bringing even more into orbit, that's where, go put yourself in an open house, advertise that, get some people in the door, and now you're getting more people in your orbit, more people in your sphere of influence. And you keep growing that as people become past clients, referrals, friends of family members, whoever it is that you're getting business from, they all become part of your sphere of influence. You never want to let them go. You want to keep them in your orbit forever. So that way you can get repeat business off of them as well as referral business. So look, that's about all the time it is that we've got for today. And look, we could go on all day and all weekend, all the way till next year, talking about what do you do after you got your real estate license. But this is a really good, simple kind of checklist. So like I said earlier, if you're just looking to practice referral real estate, go join a referral broker. It's going to save you a lot of money, because then you won't need the Association of Realtors, the MLS, and all that other stuff. You can't actually practice real estate, but you can still earn referral fees when you refer the business for somebody else to actually close the deals for you. And that's a great way you can make a lot of extra money with pretty much no work other than just making the connections of these leads. So whether you're going to do a referral brokerage or a real estate brokerage to actually practice real estate, you've got to activate. And in order to choose that brokerage, you might want to do that post-licensing course so you understand real estate a little bit more, so you could flesh out your plan a little bit better of what you want to do with your real estate license. Figure out maybe if you want to do referrals, or you're going to go for it and you're going to actually practice real estate. Because if you're going to go for it and practice real estate, you go activate with a broker. You'll then join the Association of Realtors in the MLS, and then you'll complete all their orientations, initial trainings, all like, the boot camps, the simple, getting started type of stuff. And then as you start to work leads, you want to start out with your sphere of influence, reintroducing yourself to the people it is that you already know, seeing what business it is you could potentially drum up from that, having some real estate conversations, building your confidence. And as you're ready to start venturing outside your sphere of influence, that's where you can start doing maybe some open houses. Maybe you don't have a listing, but maybe someone else at your brokerage does. Maybe even not at your brokerage, but another agent at another brokerage. Maybe they'll let you borrow their house for an open house. Maybe not. But you could probably find someone somewhere who's willing to lend you an open house. And if you can't get anyone to lend you an open house, well, keep looking for that. But in the meantime, also look for a seller that wants to sell their house, because if you can pick up that listing, now you've got a house to hold an open house at. And on top of that, you've got a deal where as long as it sells, you're basically guaranteed to get paid whatever commission it is you negotiated there. So look, real estate does not have to be that difficult. One of the core values we have here at Tampa School Real Estate is to keep it simple. But there's a lot of ways to do real estate wrong. There's a lot of ways to make it complicated. You have to actively try to keep it simple. This is a really simple checklist of a few simple items you can do after your real estate license to get your real estate career off the ground. Yes, there's going to be more details involved with each of these steps here. But you want to have this big picture plan in place so that way you know what is it that you've got to do next. What are the next steps? How do you get to this stage of actually having a successful real estate career? And that involves you having clients. So how do you get to clients? Well, basically in reverse of this process here. You need to get to doing open houses and working your sphere of influence. But before you do that, you got to kind of know what you're talking about. So you're doing your orientations, doing your post-licensing, you'll figure out real estate more, you'll have the tools and access that you need through the Association of Realtors, and legally you'll be activated with your broker. That's how you get started with your real estate license if you're actually going to practice real estate. So look, if you've got questions about this, if you need to enroll in post-licensing, or you want to get your real estate license, we've got great bundle packages that include our pre-licensing course as well as all of our exam prep study tools, and even some including our post-licensing courses, so that way you can save a bunch of money when you invest in this all up front. So give us a call, 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. You can find out more information online about obtaining your license at licensefl.com. We also have passfirsttry.com, which has all of our exam prep study tools, or a good old-fashioned regular website, tampaschool.com, where you'll find basically everything on that website. Or if you prefer to call, 813-333-2676. You can also text us at that phone number. If you haven't figured it out, we try to make it as easy as possible for you to get in contact with us to get the information is that you need, because we want to get that information in your hands. We know that information in your hands can be very powerful. You know, there's only so much real estate that we can sell, only so much business that any one person can do. But us empowering you to be able to take this action and take these steps and be able to build your own business, we have the opportunity to influence a lot of lives and do a lot of good, and that's ultimately what we're here to do. We want to help people achieve successful real estate careers. That's why we're live every Wednesday and every Friday at 12 noon Eastern time. So make sure you're tuned in, make sure you're subscribed, hit that little bell icon, because whenever it is that we go live, you'll get notifications as long as you hit that little bell icon. And if you like today's show about, next steps after you have your real estate license, hit that thumbs up button. That'll let us know to do more episodes about starting a real estate career, because this is how we gauge what we talk about. We're ultimately doing these shows to help you build a successful real estate career. So if you have questions, call us 813-333-2676. You also text us or visit us online at tampaschool.com. That's all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
Studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're going to love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam, because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. Hey, so if you're thinking about starting a real estate career, it could feel a little overwhelming sometimes. Look, that's completely understandable. That's why we're here to help. If you haven't already, check out our Success Center, tampaschool.com/success, or if you don't even know where to begin, give us a call. We'd love to help you out. We've got advisors standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way it is that we can. Our phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. Give us a call. We're the Tampa School of Real Estate.
Do you want a career that allows you to be in control? With a career in real estate, you'll get to call the shots. Whether you're looking at starting part-time or want to become the next top agent, a career in real estate makes it possible. Find out what it takes at tampaschool.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can. Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.